Yeah, man.
Make sure the wine is full. They have a couple of here. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Joe.
Hello.
How you doing?
Very good.
Yeah, it's good. It's been a while since we spoke.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to do the interview now?
Yeah.
Okay. How long can we speak?
How long ago?
How long can we speak? How long for? What kind of time do you have?
Well, not a lot.
Okay.
I mean, I've got some. I've got a kid here who's gonna start screaming.
Okay.
Not immediately.
All right.
She's happy drawing at the moment.
Oh, that's good. All right. Well, let's get to it. The thing is, well, the magazine at the magazine we're doing a special issue about punk, and we're trying to do like punk today, yesterday and today, sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
So, what to start things off, how would you define the spirit of punk, or how would you see, put it in words, what punk is or meant to you or means to you?
Well, you're missing the point completely.
Okay. What do you mean?
That's my answer.
Okay. What did the shock of punk do to music and to the way you saw rock and roll at the time?
What did the shock of punk do
to you?
Oh, to me?
Yeah.
It shocked me.
Did it change your view of music, or the approach of things?
Yes.
Okay. How I read this thing about Montgomery Clift recently that said he managed to change the way people saw actors and the people in the 50s by being stuck between two conditions. He was sort of educated as a really a smart kid, knowing lots of languages and being very educated, but he was trying to be well, not country, but to be more down to earth. Do you think that the people who can change things are the people who try to cross over? Meaning, the guy said that the revolutions are made not by people who are from the working class, but by people who are from the higher class trying to bring the lower class, up. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that sounds very interesting. I think you should make a big central point of your issue with that. That's a very interesting angle. I don't think anyone else here has figured that angle. There's a lot of people doing punk books here and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone's figured that angle. That's a really good angle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you should really make sure you ask everybody that. That's really good. Well, I think it has to be a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Because, first of all, you need some education to be able to realize that you can think for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Or then you can express those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But also, there's definitely a state I would call overeducated,
Mm-hmm.
whereby, and I think in England anyway, I don't know about anywhere else, but in England I think laziness and habit
Mm-hmm.
has somewhat degenerated the education system, for example, the universities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that people are really leaving there smarter.
Mm-hmm.
They might leave there with a new batch of knowledge and some documents, diplomas and degrees to prove that they've attended this process. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it's doing anybody any good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the long run, I think there's a bit of a joke going on in the university scene that
Mm-hmm.
where they're just going through the motions and churning out batches of people. But I don't think any real human advance is being made. And some of these people turn out what I call overeducated, meaning that they've been overeducated and they've somehow lost the plot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the point you make that you based on Montgomery's quote was a really good point to make, and I don't think that many other magazines or books are going to be making that point.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of what I saw about you when somebody, I think it was Lester Bangs, who said, you know, he was answering people saying, you know, Joe Strummer is a fake, you know, in '77 because people would say, oh, he has a bourgeois education, and Lester Bangs answered, yeah, he's a fake, like Pete Townsend and Bob Dylan, meaning he's the one that really understands it because you had an education and you actually understood, and you were the kind of person who could change things.
That's really true. Lester was a smart guy, really smart. You know, that was a cool thing for him to say because it could get, you know, punk purists can get quite unreasonable.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Yeah, like trying. Yeah, you must be working class.
Yeah, they don't stop to think really.
Right. And was that? How did you make the move from you know being from the way you saw the world? Did you feel at some point a click where you thought, hey, I can do something. I can do with my music. I can change things.
No. You never think like that. Anyway, I've never been any kind of sort of intellectual thinker. I'm more of an instinctive worker. So I find it hard to really even think back in my memory why I moved down there or why I went, you know, why I made decisions that were kind of pretty insane. I don't know why I did it. I just did it without thinking. To me, when I look back, it just seems like following some thought process without even thinking what it was. I just seemed to know what I wanted to do and what was important to me. I did it without self-consciousness, which was quite good.
It was more of an emotional reaction to things. Yeah. There was this great thing that you said that really moved me deeply in this interview that was on the CD, the Clash on Broadway, the interviews CD. I think it was an interview with Cosmo, and you said people can change the world if they really want it. That really you know hit me deep, saying you can't allow yourself to be a cynic.
Yes, I fully feel that although cynicism is a refuge of the sort of world weary and know-it-alls, somehow there's a tinge of laziness or inhumanity there, or personal failing, or laziness of thought, I would think, because you can't stay a cynic. You know, everyone has their cynical moods, or when we hear the latest swindle or, you know, deal between one faction and another, then we all go, oh. But you can't, cynicism cannot be a state of mind, you know, permanent or a way of life. It's just inhuman. But that's only my view. I mean, there's been plenty of cynical people who've been great thinkers. But
Mhm.
for me, it's if you haven't got the humanity, then why bother
Mhm.
living? You know.
Right. Does the has your the way your music and your lyrics have evolved, meaning from the from the Clash to Earthquake Weather, does that reflect your view of the world? Are you more introspective? Are you?
Yeah, I suppose so, because I've had a decade away from the limelight, away from the action.
Mhm.
So I think it was something that it was time for me to do.
Mhm.
It's something when it's like when the generations turn, because say your parents might die and you might have children, and you're aware suddenly of other things,
Mhm.
and also you have to consider your mistakes and your triumphs and your mistakes. You have to take a bearing,
Mhm.
which I think has been really good for me, because I found there's life in the old dog yet.
Mhm. So was there some healing process in a way, or something like that, and the way that you wrote these songs that were beautiful, like Sleepwalk or Leopard Skin Limousines?
Yeah, well, that's my favorite. Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that songs mean so much to me. That one, just so how would you? Yeah, was there a healing process of you pouring out all these images, all these feelings from out of you?
Yeah. I suppose. I put up to write the record. I didn't write it. I just felt that it was in there, and I didn't write it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only when I realized that I'd booked the room,
Mm-hmm.
and I better put them down on tape at least in the next couple of weeks before some sort of preparatory sessions would begin. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know what. I just somehow felt that it was time to knock out a few tunes, because I'd been bottling them up, just working on a few films here and there, but nothing much being written. So I just kind of wrote it all out. That was quite a fun session on a tour.
Yeah, I remember seeing you there. That was the first time I ever saw you, actually. But do you think people were surprised at how Joe the flag waving guy sort of turned out to be this very Dylan like character who would just take snapshots of the world the way he saw it?
Yeah, I guess to me it's less of a surprise though, isn't it? Because it's like watching someone's hair grow.
Mm-hmm.
You sort of mutate or evolve, and you change without really noticing it yourself, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, I just do things that, as I said before, I'm not a great plan thinker.
Yeah.
Or reasoner. Or concluder. I just seem to chow it in and then make my move without really being maybe totally conscious of what I'm doing it for. I think that's quite good, because
it's healthier probably.
Yeah, it's a bit less self-conscious. I just seem to be able to work in that way, where you drift towards something, which is the way a lot of artists like to work.
Yeah. Do you? You also did the wonderful Walker soundtrack.
Well, that's my other thing that I would like to. If I had to blow a drum or beat a trumpet, that would be one. That came out good. There were some great musicians, and
it's a wonderful record.
Well, everything that happened. Sometimes these sessions just things don't screw up. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just everyone walks through the door as an ace player, and they know exactly. They get on your wavelength immediately, and you can sort of direct them and get some great music down on tape.
Mm-hmm. Did you write everything? Did you actually write every part that they played? Wow, that must have been hell of a work.
Yeah. Well, I'd say, if there was, to clarify that, if there was, say, a section, i.e., say, 3 trumpets or 3 violins and 1 viola, then I would write the part that I would get the guy who does the dots, the notator. I would write the part and get the notator to put it down on paper. I would play in the part on a ghetto blaster. But then, if the instrument is more freewheeling, i.e. solo, so you have to write parts if 3 people are going to play. Yeah. Because they've got to know which note are you doing, and therefore which note am I, Right. They have to have, so anything that had a section, I was careful to make sure the part was well specced out. And say Rebecca on the piano, I mean, I just said to her, like, gave her the Latin beat and the chords, and then, showed her the simple melody over it. I said, well, that was about it. And then I asked her to sort of freeform. In fact, the instructions I gave to Rebecca and all of the musicians when they were soloing or playing an instrument by themselves was, here's the chords, this is the melody. You don't particularly have to play the melody, but you could support it harmonically. But apart from that, I said, play the bad shit. I told them, play the after-hours shit. Play the stuff that no one ever else lets you play on sessions. That's what I asked them to play. And you can hear Rebecca really vamping down on sort of a stereo, like just, barrel house cantina style, really. And that's because I find it stimulating to work with people and talk good performances out of them. Yeah. I do have that ability of working with people. Yeah, again, it's the emotional aspect of it, rather, than the intellectual one. Did you? I remember, I remember requesting Tennessee Rain when you did that tour in '89. Oh God! And you said, "Oh, I forgot the lyrics." Yeah. I forgot the lyrics and I forgot the chords, so we won't play it tonight. But Tennessee Rain is such a wonderful tune. Yeah, it seems like it's almost like it wasn't written. It just came out, Yeah, that's how it was written exactly, Nikolai. You seem to have called it. Like a lot of songs, of course, you have to like bash them out, or you chase something down. But sometimes they just roll out. You can tell like that. Huh? It just rolled out. Yeah, one morning. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's better when the musician concerned is switched off. Like if you read all these stories about when people tell about when something rolls out in that style, it's always interesting to me. They're near sleep. Like Keith Richards and his Satisfaction. Yeah. He goes, I woke up one morning and dan, it was going through my head. And a lot of the people that have had one roll out on them, to the grace of God be thanks. It has, I've noticed being near sleep as if we were switched off, allowing, because Tennessee Rain was definitely woken, I think, back first thing in the morning, on a rainy morning. And it just came out? Yeah, without any thinking about it beforehand. I think that's the ticket also with these affairs. It's not like you think, right, how about a song called Tennessee Rain, and it's going on in the back of your mind. The things that seem to be gifts from the heavens are never really pre-spec'd, it sort of tumbles out at once, unannounced, as if it were. Yeah, those are the lucky moments. Yeah. Seem to have quite a few of them. Well, they're few and far between for anybody. Oh, yeah, well, you've had your share, I think. Well, hopefully I can switch my brain off more often. You stayed for a while in Nicaragua. Was that before or after? No, I think that's, I don't know nothing about nothing, but... Well, that sounds familiar. Yeah. I spent 3 months there.
Uh-huh.
I think that kind of helps with the music because I spent 3 months there and then went straight to Frisco
Uh-huh.
and started to call the musicians in and book the room. And so we hit it pretty quickly.
Uh-huh.
And 3 months there, you know, some of those tunes like the ones with the vocals, the Immortals, and
Yeah.
the other one,
The Unknown Immortal.
yeah. But definitely, you know, I spent 3 months sitting in a small town in Granada. You know, Granada in southern Nicaragua is a small city. And it just, that's... You know,
What did you do there?
well, I was an extra in the movie.
Oh, yeah, that's right, in the Walker film.
Just sort of running about, pushing a food cart, or the galley, you know, the troop kitchen. But, yeah, I spent so long there that it just I think that helped. Yeah, obviously it helped.
Yeah. Did you finally see a different way of life than a European or Western one?
Well, no. The only thing that I think you can get, I mean, okay, they've got their own internal thing about, you know, the dictator was in for 50 years,
right?
And then the hotheads from the universities took over with their Marx and Lenin, and now it's kind of swinging back slightly the other way. You know, they're trying to find what sort of a people they are, and I think they will, but leaving that aside as their own problem or their own business, the only thing that really hit me was when I saw a girl playing with an empty plastic bag, sort of throwing it up in the air, and then watching it sort of float down like a parachute and then catching it. And I suddenly realized how horrible it is. Of all the things we have, I just felt that, you know, Western over, that Western guilt compared to some people with not that much stuff.
Yeah.
Or
like the most common thing in our life, like a plastic bag, becomes an actual toy for you.
Yeah. A source of great delight.
Yeah.
And it's the wastage. That's what you feel more than that. That's the only thing that you can't shake.
Yeah, I know. I'm from Yugoslavia. I know all about that. Then you did a tour in '89, and it seemed like you hadn't been enjoying yourself, like, you know, doing rock and roll in so long. I've got tapes of those shows, and you do these great covers. You do Oye Como Va, Santana. You do.
Yeah, that's a lovely tune.
Yeah,
you know, that's an old Cuban. I didn't know that really.
No,
it's an old Perez Prado.
Oh, really?
Cuban dance hit from the '40s. Like Latino band style.
Oh, I didn't know.
No, I didn't know that until I played that with the Roberto Pla. And when we were rehearsing it, he said, "Oh yeah, this is Perez Prado tune."
Oh fuck, that's great.
I didn't know that either.
That's funny. And you know what? I played. You did the Viva la Quince Brigada.
Yeah.
And I played it to my mum because I loved it, and she starts singing along to it. I'm like, how'd you know the lyrics? She goes, well, my father was singing it to me when his friends came back from Spain.
Wow.
And I was like, man, that's brilliant.
You know that Dylan sent me that.
Oh, yeah, that's what you say on the stage. I always wanted to ask you that.
Yeah. Dylan, he mentioned it, I think, a year or two before. And finally, he got somebody in his office to stick the record onto the cassette and just mail it down.
He must have been proud as hell.
Well, God, you think, God, you know, when Bob sends a tune, you fucking learn it.
That must have been pretty cool to receive. Hey Joe, this is a...
Yeah, and it was fun. It's a fun song to play, you know, plenty of movement.
Yeah, it's all this rolling chords.
Yeah, and the digga-dum.
Yeah, and it was funny because, you know, my mother was singing to it. I was like, wow, you know, and she said, Joe, you're Joe. She calls you my Joe. She says, you're Joe. He's really hip to those things. I mean, I'm like, all right. So
and they don't know the writer.
no,
It's anonymous.
yeah, it's one of those songs that again that were in the air at the time. But it seems so appropriate for you to say to do that. Kind of this,
song.
yeah. There's always this romantic rebellion about you, like very much in the Woody Guthrie tradition of. It wasn't a political. See, people like I spoke to Bruno Bloom, and he said, "Yeah, Joe, he was a Trotskyist. He knew." And I was like, "No, Joe's only politics is Woody Guthrie politics."
Yeah, you're right, Nikolai.
I don't think he ever cared about what Trotsky said, or did, not in that dry, insensitive way. It was more of a. It wasn't a communist thing. It was the caring for the people.
Yeah, you're right, Nikolai.
I always saw you in that in the tradition of Woody and Dylan in a certain way, Pete Seeger and all these people, just doing folk songs, even though it's rock and roll, it's folk songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you in your mind sort of as in a Freudian sense kill the Clash? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, it's very difficult with all you people ringing up. No, I don't know. I think that you have to, when you consider some moves that you've made in order to learn a little, I think you've got to be brave enough to accept the blame for your errors and not. It's very easy in the memory to sort of fidget and pass it off to avoid. I mean, you have to realize when you've been stupid, you have to really lash yourself with it in order to learn the point. And I think that's a process that's essential for anybody going through something heavy. You can't forget it. You have to be at peace with it in your mind after really examining it or returning to it until the process is sorted, the process is completed.
Did that take you long?
Yeah, it did.
Did you think that by '84 the Clash was already, you were trying to revive the Corpse?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, not that I would have known at the time, but certainly in hindsight, definitely.
Yeah, even though there's great songs on Cut the Crap. I like North and South is a great song.
It's true. There is, and This Is England.
This Is England is great.
This is really a groove, but yeah, I think. Well, that was the record produced by the manager Bernie Rhodes.
Yeah, that might have been a mistake.
Well, I don't know. He wanted to take his turn at the desk, and I thought, well, why not?
Yeah, I couldn't
Bernie roll, and some of the tracks are really good, and some are maybe over ambitious, and
too much synth,
and some are let down by, I don't know, inappropriate voicings or inappropriate writing, but however, it has been called in. Do you know that Sex Pistols book?
Which one?
England's Dreaming.
Yeah.
John Savage.
Yeah, I haven't read it.
Well,
I'm aware.
It's quite lengthy, but if you find it in a bookshop, look up in the index. Look up "Cut the Crap," and he refers to things that happened, alongside his main history about the Pistols, and he calls it in there an ambitious sound picture of the early '80s, which is the best thing I've heard written about it. Usually it's dismissed, but that was the first thing I see in print which is a hindsight view from John Savage, that maybe it's not as crap as we thought it was.
No, yeah, I mean, as I said, there's some really good tunes that sounded bad.
Yeah.
You know, that sounded like, oh God, it could be so great if somebody sorted it out.
Yeah.
Like I have bootleg versions live, and they sound great. You know, like you remember the single I gave you?
Yep.
With that famous tune that that you'd lost. Or was it Pouring Rain?
Yeah, Pouring Rain.
Yeah.
Now, that I wanted to inform you of the eventual journey. That is now the opening song in a New York movie.
Oh.
Directed by Sarah Driver.
Oh, really? Isn't she the wife of
Jim
Jarmusch? Yeah.
And it's called When Pigs Fly.
Uh-huh.
And it stars an English actor called Alfred Molina.
Okay.
Or Molino, I can't believe. No, Molina. Definitely Molina.
I think I've seen his name.
And Marianne Faithfull.
Oh, really? So she's used that song?
Yeah, it opens the picture.
Oh, great. It's great.
Yeah.
I've made my contribution.
Absolutely.
I'm really glad. I think I wrote you a letter a while ago saying, you know, it's a shame that there's so many great songs that you made that will not be heard by the public, like the Permanent Record soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's I mean, you know, your half of it is really brilliant. Nothing About Nothing is a great tune.
Yeah, now and then again I think, you know, Bratton.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, now and again that one, I shall definitely never forget that one.
Yeah.
It's too much fun.
And Trash City is brilliant.
Yeah, but Nothing About Nothing, I think it's 2 minutes 30 or something.
Yeah.
There's no extra flesh on that tune.
Exactly. It's all blown. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's melodic movement.
Uh-huh.
That's rock and roll, that song.
Oh yeah. And man, I got I taped off the TV. Hired a Contract Killer.
Oh yeah.
You blew me to bits.
Good. Aki Kaurismäki.
Yeah.
He's a really great man.
Yeah. He's part of that Jim Jarmusch gang too.
Yeah, he's a really great guy. I've had a lot of fun in these years working with these people.
Yeah,
they're all insane. They are. They have no idea.
How was it being an actor? Being
totally crap.
Really?
Yeah.
About you were? Or you felt?
Yeah, I was. And
I thought you were
a mugs game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were pretty decent.
Nah, it's a mugs game. Leave it to the actors. That's my motto.
Yeah. Straight to Hell is a masterpiece, though.
Well, that was just a bit of fun, but
yeah.
Seriously, though, unless there are people who can act,
right,
knock off an album, knock off another album.
Yeah.
But for me, I prefer leaving it to the actors.
Yeah. Did you think for a while you could that would be your new calling?
Yeah, of course. You think, oh, this looks fun.
Yeah.
Because we've all watched too many films, so there must be a latent desire to be Alan Ladd in every one of us.
I'm not sure.
Flynn,
Yeah.
Or whatever the new lot are. But yeah, it was obviously, I saw how ridiculous it was fairly quickly. Not all that quickly. You little piggy. Okay, kid, I will. Give me another couple of minutes, okay?
So, yeah, well, on the subject of children, did having children change your view of the world, as it obviously does to people?
Yeah, I think the main thing is you suddenly realize that you're not. The best lesson probably is it kills your selfishness. I was just thinking about these two tunes you did in
in Hide the Contra Killer, you know, Afro-Cuban Bebop and Burning Lights.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, he can do it.
Yeah, that was done very, very quickly.
But they're great tunes, and it's just you and a bongo.
Yeah.
And
there's me and Andrew Rankin.
oh, is that Andrew Rankin?
Yeah. And then in the distance, there's Jem Finer on saxophone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there's also, I'm playing the rhythm guitar, but some really good rhythm is being put down by Philip Chevron.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I heard he just left the Pogues.
It was during the Hell's Ditch session.
Yeah.
We went.
Oh, cool.
We went into this sort of. It was a horse box, and I had a 4-track parked in it because it was just a space where you could go and listen, check back mixes. You know, it's parked right outside the studio door. And we went into the horse box and knocked it out onto the 4-track.
But they're great tunes, and I was thinking...
It took less than 3 hours from start to finish. That was a really fun morning.
But
also at 6 in the morning.
And I was just thinking, he can do it. Why doesn't he do it anymore? Why don't you do it? Why you know?
Yeah, I was waiting for something. Hey, watch out, kid. Oh, no. Wipe it on the paper. The paper! Oh, God damn it. Sorry. That dreadful Japanese, you know those Japanese pens?
Oh, yeah?
The silver ones?
Oh, yeah.
Where you prod the end and then it all comes blooping out.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, she just made a huge pool of it and stuck all her hands in it. Now she's waving. See, look.
You get silver fingerprints all over your place.
Okay. Yeah, what was that last point before the silver...
the future. Well, you were waiting for something to do new music.
Ah, yeah. I was waiting for. See, I'm not quick on the uptake.
No shit.
Listen, I'm not quick on the uptake. But once I get the point, I really get the point. For example, say. Mick and Paul were mucking about on London scene, the sub-under scene, with people who were kind of playing stooges, you know, they were on the new tip, whereas I was definitely out, like, rocking Route 66. So I wouldn't say that I was in at the ground floor, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I deduce that I'm not quick on the uptake. But on the other hand, the good side is that once you get the point, you really get the point. So I had to understand how music, the best, you know, I had to understand which music was going in a direction, in say in the past 8 years, music's gone in a direction and it's going with or without you, right? It goes with or without anybody, although obviously originators make the thing that make the moves that count, but it's going somehow.
It's programmed to go that way.
Yeah, it's going, and it goes with or without you, and you have to reach a certain knowledge. It's something to do with your relation to your position in the world, and how that forms your opinion about music. See, opinion to me here is the most dangerous word, because it's opinion that has killed more artistic, you know, projects or possibilities than we could ever imagine. So, in a way, you have to conquer the prejudices that are in your opinions. That's what you have to do, because they can take root, like, you know, like climbing plants or something. They can just take over. So it took me a while to
understand punk.
No. I'm talking about actually this year, last year, and the year before, and the year before that. Yeah. But I'm talking about now.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm talking about now.
So it took you a while to understand.
To understand that you've got to be fresh. You've got to be. You've got to understand what's going on. You know, you've got to be able to get into techno.
But see, I was always I was always thinking that was the difference between Mick and you. That Mick was always trying to follow or to be into what was happening in the scene or what was happening now and today. And I always considered you as just following your own road, Dylan style or Woody Guthrie style.
Yes, but true. But all right, some people either see the point immediately of new things, or are worried about being left behind. Right? Obviously, that was never one of my worries, particularly, as you described, sort of the going your own way type vibe. But on the other hand, it's easy to let that harden. You know, the go your own way. It can harden into habit, routine,
right,
synonymous with laziness.
That's true.
Is artistic death. So, you know, over here has been a strong new music scene for a while.
And that jungle.
Yeah, jungle and techno, and obviously, you hear it in two ways. You either hear it as a meaningless jumble, or it completely dials your number. And I think the people that are missing out on this will regret it later, because it's all moving now right under their feet, and it's a very, very musical scene. Very.
Yeah. I think jungle, I agree. Techno, I'm not certain.
No, you see, your prejudices have already hardened. You need some anti-cholesterol records.
Well, you know, I'm willing to...
You need to listen to John Coltrane for 3 weeks, night and day, and then get it.
Is that what happened with you learning... I mean, you described that to Chris Sanovich about, like, you learning about reggae. It was more dashing, big youth.
Yes, it must be that. You know, otherwise, you know, when you've heard the record a lot, it's running away in some tape recorder.
Yeah, you know. So is that a direction for you? I mean, am I, you know, musical?
Well, no. I mean, I think before you make any music, you have to
immerse yourself in.
Yeah, you have to. Because remember, although we talk about the results, the scene is really people. Whatever scene it is, it's composed completely of people with intentions and methods. And you know, I think you have to be part of something. You have to
be part of a movement.
Yeah, you have to be hooked into people. Yeah, not necessarily a movement, just a good posse of people, like-minded people, and you have to have some sort of culture to immerse yourself in, and to, you know, something that's quite complete, that has branches in all areas of human sort of activity, and then you can see, because it means something. The music is never separated from. There must be a meaning to it, like, what are you trying to do? Or the people who dig this music, what would they like to happen? But anyway, I've got to go now. She's coming back for more paint.
Okay. Okay. I just, for the last question, so you told me that you were working in a studio. Is that, did I hear what I want to hear?
What did you hear?
Why, you told me that you were going to, you were in a studio this week. Are you recording?
Oh no, yeah, I'm just doing something for it's a favor for a friend called Gordon McCarg.
Oh.
It's he has he's a cutout expert, as in he cuts wood out,
Mhm.
and he makes sculptures from, say, wood.
Mhm.
And he's having an exhibition called Sandpaper Blues,
Mhm.
because obviously he spends his whole life sandpapering, yeah?
Yeah.
And no, he just asked a couple of musician friends to knock him out something to play at the exhibition.
Mhm.
You know, something called Sandpaper Blues.
Mhm.
So we were just helping him out for his exhibition.
Oh. So, have you got any plans in the foreseeable future for music?
I don't.
We miss you, Joe.
Yeah, I'm. Well, you know, we'll have to see. I mean, it depends how much. It depends how open-minded people are. Okay, I'll see you, Nikolai.
Okay.
All right.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.